Alright, here's the gun technique.
The sex technique is defense against an attacker with a gun. Now, in reality, you never want to try to disarm a gun from an attacker unless it's purely a life or death situation, unless it's something where if you don't disarm the attacker, you're in a lot of trouble. So, in reality, you run first, disarm second. So what we're going to do here is the gun is going to be pointed at the back of your head. Now, generally in these types of situations, your attacker's going to say, stick them up. So you put your hands up. That's exactly what you want them to say. What we're going to do from this point is we're going to spin inside, trapping the attacker.
See, that's where he messed up. Would it be better to spin to the inside of the gun or the outside? The outside. Why? Right. He can still use his right hand against you once you start spinning towards the inside. But if you spin towards the outside, he can't use the right hand at all, and you got the left hand isolated, right? To where he can't hit you with the right hand, right? Yeah.
Fierce wrist, which allows us to at the same time throw a punch. We then come down, control the attacker's.
See, he's neglecting the other guy has use of both hands, right? This dude just has his hand by his side. A real attacker, if he thinks you're going to resist him, right, okay, he's going to know to stop you if you go to the inside. But if you go to the outside, he can't stop you because you got control of the gun then, right? But if you do the second technique to the outside of the gun, right, if you spin in, right, away from the gun, right, not into him, right, you're gonna hurt yourself there, right? But if you spin away from the gun, you're isolating the gun from you, and he can't use his other hand against you, right? You're crossing him up, right? Right? I'm not saying you can't use this technique if you're fast enough, I guess, right? But that relies more on speed and him keeping his right hand by his side, right? Otherwise, guess what? He's gonna hit you while you're spinning in, right? And trying to take the gun back from you, right? And then you're vulnerable to his other hand in the gun. He ain't gonna just leave his hand right by his side, right? If he sees you're trying to take the gun from you, right? You need to spin to the other side, right? Then the other hand don't matter. You can take the gun from him. You can knee him, right, with the gun hand if you spin to the outside and do that versus the inside, right? And then he's got to drop the gun, and then he's unarmed, right? Then you might get the gun first yourself once the gun's on the floor, right? You can knee his hand, right? And he'll drop the gun, right? If you spin to the outside, not the inside. See, he's spinning to his inside here, right? But if you spin to the outside, he's less likely to get you,
right? Bring the gun down towards the ground. It's very important that it's towards the ground, not across
but
your
see,
body.
he can grab him there, right?
Step
He's too
back,
close in, right?
bring the arm up, and break the elbow at the shoulder.
Now, you can do some of that, but you need to be on the outside too. If you do that on the outside, okay, and you try to break his shoulder, it's going to be on the same side, right? You know what I mean, right? But if you spin to the outside, right, the only difference would be what? The same shoulder would break the same arm, right? But you would be to the outside of his arm, right? Not the inside of his body where he can use the other arm against you, right? You understand, right?
Pulling the gun out of the hand and returning.
Now see the next technique, right?
The next technique is a variation on the defense against the gun attack. So again, the attack comes from behind, attack says stick them up, put your arms up. This time we want to spin towards the outside.
That's the optimal spinning technique, right? Right.
Trapping our attacker's wrist. As we step into the attacker, we're going to fire an elbow straight to the head.
That's smart.
Drive your attacker over. You place your hand on the back of the attacker's head. Drive a knee
There
straight
you
to
go.
the face.
Right.
Then what we want to do is wrap our arm under and using our overarm for leverage.
There you go.
We need the wrist to dislodge the gun as we tear it from the attacker's grip and step back.
And
to
then
the
you
other
got the
position.
gun. Almost like I knew that technique was coming up next time. Maybe I watched the video before, but I'm pointing out certain errors there, right? You know, you can also break his arm on the other side, right? You're safer to go to the outside with both techniques, never the inside, right? You're more vulnerable to the
This next
inside than
technique
the
is
outside.
with the attacker
Right.
inside with the gun. In this technique, the attacker points the gun at you and you're faced sideways. What you want to do is to do an outside block and trap. So now that you're on the inside line of your attack.
But you would do what? The opposite, an inside block. So you want him to the outside of you.
Thrust to the face.
Because see, I could raise my hand if you try to knee me from there, right? My right hand, my back hand. I could put my hand in front of my face to block the knee strike, right? See, I know how to do that, right? Don't think I don't know that, right? So as you're trying to knee me, I'm going to try and block it, right? With my hand, right? My other hand. I got two hands, man, right? So if you try to knee me there, I'm going to block you, right? But if you spin to my outside, right, you got me all over the place, right? You can do whatever you want, basically. You can do a kick, you can do a knee, you can do it, right? You got me there. But here you don't have me. You can never do it to the inside of another person, right? Then you're showing off. You never want to do it to this side, right? You're neglecting the other hand too, right? I can block your knee there, right? Because you ain't incapacitating me completely, right? See, I'm not incapacitated yet, or I can't retaliate, right? I can still retaliate there, right? All these other techniques aren't gonna work, right?
And what you want to do is reach back and grab the wrist with both hands. You're going to turn it forward, and at the top of the arc, take the gun away, come down, we have a wrist lock, and we have the gun.
But see, I can also block the knee strike when you're coming in with the other hand, right? That's either that or there's the other side, right?
This next technique is a variation of the defense or gun attack from the side. Again, the gun's pointed at you from the side. We're going to do a left outside block and trap. Now, normally we would throw a right snap kick because it has more power. But in this instance, we want to throw a left snap kick because it will bring us in the right position. We throw the kick and step forward. This enables us to reach behind the arm and initiate an arm lock on your attacker's arm.
See, what he's trying to do is show you the arm lock. But that's only because his guy is his guy, right? He can show you this technique purely because he's going to retaliate for you. But if you're on the street, someone's going to stop you on the inside, right? Every time you go to his inside, he has the advantage, not when you go to the outside, right? Of his body, right?
What we can then do is step your right foot behind the attacker, take away the gun with the left hand, as you have this attacking hand locked up with the right hand, and take him down. This next technique involves a variation of the defense of a gun attack from behind. In this technique, we're going to use a throw that's common in judo or jiu-jitsu. So again, your attacker puts the gun near his head and says, stick him up. Put your arms up, you're going to spin out left outside block and trap, as we did before. You want to step your right leg in front of your attacker's right leg. You're going to stick the bend of your elbow into your attacker's armpit. Step back to square up with your attacker. You want to take...
But see, you take it too long. Plus, he's not distracting me. Right. You can't just go in with my arm at my right side and me not retaliate against you as you're coming in. Right. I'm going to retaliate now and stop you from throwing me there. Right. Now, you need to hit me in the solar plexus before you do that. Right.
And
You
you can take
understand?
the gun
Right.
away. Make sure not to let go of the wrist.
You hit me in the solar plexus, yeah, I'll knock the wind out of me, and then you can do that. Right. But you can't just turn into me like I don't have a right hand. Right. Either. Yeah.
This next technique is a defense of a gun attack from
Well, that's just my
Now,
opinion.
when practicing this technique, make sure to keep your finger outside of the trigger because it's very easy to get a broken finger. So, your attacker comes in and sticks the gun to the front. Now, when people fire a gun, they have a natural tendency to jerk the gun to the outside, depending on which hand they're holding them. So, if the guy
But then
right
you're
hand,
trying to go
the
to
gun's
his
gonna
outside. Right.
jerk to the right. The guy-
Alright, it froze for a moment. That's what I told you it was doing the last time. Right. It'll freeze sometimes. Right. On the tape. But see, now, then it starts moving. You got anything with it, right? So I tried to pause it, then I just play again. Right? Now, part of it is he's explaining the technique, right? What you're trying to do here, right? So that's why the student, right, ain't gonna just shoot you, right? But again, right, a real person would, right, just shoot you or, right, attack you with the other hand, right? And you're coming in, right? You gotta do something to distract you with the other hand too, right? See how he's doing it? Right, right.